Hello, it's 9 p.m. in Art. This time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. So we have the recitation of the results of the survey on people living with HIV/AIDS and tuberculosis. For the international scene, the African Cup of Nations will be held in January, February. Welcome to our newsroom. The Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdille, presided over a ceremony to present the result of the survey on the nutritional and socio-economic situations of people living with HIV, AIDS, and tuberculosis. The UN AIDS representative, Mr. Farhad Hassan Farah, and the World Health Organization representative, Dr. Reinhild van der Wert, and the World Food Programme Deputy Director, Ms. Olivia Hans, and senior officials from the Ministry of Health attended the feedback ceremony. As a reminder, the Republic of Djibouti is characterized by a national HIV prevalence estimated at 1.5 and affecting about 6,800 people. This survey conducted under the leadership of the Ministry of Health with the support of the UN AIDS and World Food Programme with the assistance of INSTAD and the Ministry of Social Affairs Solidarity is the second assessment since 2011. It is the second evaluation since 2011. More than 1,100 interviews were conducted with the PL, HIV, and TB patients. It aims to collect accurate data on the nutritional studies and food security, on the socio-economic situations of the PL, HIV, and TB patients and their households. In his speech, the representative of the UN AIDS in Djibouti, Mr. Farhad Hassan Farah, has indicated that the HIV, AIDS, and tuberculosis have a devastating impact on household food security and nutrition. It aims to collect accurate data on the nutritional studies and food security and the socio-economic situations of the PL, HIV, TB patients and their households. For his part, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdille, has emphasized that the results of this survey, which aims to determine the nutritional status of the PL, HIV, and TB patient and could constitute a solid basis for improving the assistance provided to these affected people. The Minister of Health stated that the nutritional studies and optimal food security for the most vulnerable, including people living with HIV/AIDS, is essential for good health. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, and the French ambassador to Djibouti, Arnaud Guillois, co-sponsored the ceremony of donations of 5,000 books offered by the French embassy in Djibouti. This donation is part of the agreement between MENFOP and the French embassy concerning the project of revitalization of the Documentation and Information Center, and more generally for the support to the promotions of books and reading in schools. It should be noted that these library books are intended for the Documentation and Information Center of the college in the capital and in the regions. And it is therefore right that the head of the middle schools took part in the ceremony after a welcome speech by the Acting Director General of CRIPEN, Mr. Abdullahi Barrebo. The ambassador of France to Djibouti, Arnaud Guillois, said he was pleased to make these donations that Djibouti that reinforces the mean of documentation and information center and support the promotion of the leisure readings in school. For his part, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, has said he was pleased to co-chair this ceremony and of handing over this important endowment of books through Library Without Borders. The Minister of National Education expressed his sincere thanks to the French ambassador in Djibouti and through him the French government for its constant support in the promotion of books and reading in our schools, college, and high school. He asked the principals and the teacher to make a good use of these books of pleasure reading, which must benefit of our colleges. The Sectoral Center for Vocational Training in Transport and Logistics received this Monday, December 2021, and the president of the municipality of Balbala, companies, partners, parents and students, neighborhood leaders, local elected officials, associations for our open house to visit our facilities. The participants were welcomed by the management team of SCS FOPA TL. Also, for the first time this year, many schools groups showed up. It was a great success. During this day, people were able to see that vocational training is more than valid career options for both youth and adults. All the visitors were pleasantly surprised by the cleanliness. Recall that the Center for Training, Transport and Logistics was inaugurated by the Minister of National Education, Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, on Monday, February 10, 2020 in Balbala. For his part, the director of the Sectoral Center for Vocational Training, he said it is a new sectoral center that offers a wide range of vocational training in transport and logistics and meet the needs of young learners in the sector in terms of capacity, operational resources, and pedagogical innovations in developing skills in the field of transport and logistics. As part of her participation in the 41st sessions of the Council of Arab Ministries of Social Affairs, the Minister of Social Affairs Solidarity, Ulufa Ismail Abdo, visited the King Salman Center for Humanitarian Relief and Action in Riyadh, where she held fruitful talks with the advisor to the Royal Court, the General Supervisor of the Center, Dr. Abdullah bin Abdul Aziz Al-Rabi'a. The discussions which were attended by the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Ambassador Dean Said Bamakrama, focused on the fraternal relations and joint cooperation between the two brotherly countries, especially with regard to the support provided by the Center to accompany the efforts of the Ministry of Social Affairs Solidarity to improve the living conditions of the poorest people. As part of the organization of the experts meeting for the evaluation policy framework for the digital economy of Africa, the Economic Commission for Africa, in collaboration with the Ministry of Digital Economy and Innovation, organized at Sheraton Hotel a regional meeting on the implementation of the recommendations of the World Summit on the Information Society, chaired by the Minister Delegate in charge of Digital Economy and Innovation, Ms. Mariam Hamadou Ali, and Mr. Makhtar Sek, head of the Technology and Innovation sections of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. The meeting was attended by experts from ICT and private sector, startups, representatives of regional economic community. The overall objectives of the meeting is to review a concept paper on the theme of the experts group meeting. The papers under review is the policy framework for Africa's digital economy. The main outcomes of the meeting are to improve knowledge on the current state of the digital economy in Africa and the competitiveness of the continent in relation to the rest of the world. At the end of the meeting, the experts will finalize a policy report on the policy framework of the digital economy of Africa. Mariam Hamadou Ali, Minister Delegate in charge of digitalization, digital economy and innovations, in his opening remarks at the regional meeting on the implementation of the recommendation of the World Summit on the Information Society, welcomed the African delegation. She said, "I would like to congratulate ECA for making it possible for us to meet here today and to organize this event, reaching knowledge and information on the continent. The initiative of the Economic Commission for Africa is more than noble. The impact of COVID-19 has touched the whole world. For this impact came the importance of the global digital revolution. The digital revolution is now a reality in all sectors of the economy. Digital is interpreted as a concept that profoundly changes the ways of producing, exchanging, communicating, and consuming. New information and communication technology are at the heart of economic development in countries around the world. Also, some African countries are more advanced than others in terms of digitalization. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, early in the day of Wednesday, moved to December 2021 in Ali Sabih. The officer cadet of Arta Joint Military Academy have been carrying out for the last 5 days a file exercise as part of the restitution of achievement. The cadet future executive of the Djiboutian Armed Forces, including the 3 promotions. The objective of this, the trip of the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces is to assess the knowledge acquired by the cadet during their academic training and their ability to command and develop orders in a harsh and hostile environment. In his trip, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim was accompanied by General Tahir Ali Mohammed, Chief of the Defense Staff, Colonel Abdullahi Abdi Farah, Director General of the National Police, Colonel Wais Omar Bogore, Commander of the Coast Guard, and senior officials of the Djiboutian Armed Forces. Note that the presence of the President of the Regional Council of Ali Sabih, Omar Ahmed Wais, to fight against the pandemic of COVID-19, the barrier gestures such as the mandatory wearing of the mask, social distancing, and hand washing were observed. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim got off the Dauphin helicopters. He was welcomed by Colonel Omar Mohammed Ali, Chief of the Corps of Ali Sabih Inter-Arms Battalion Bias, Colonel Muhammad Mumin Abdi, Director of the Amia Academy, Colonel Wagdi Jama' Musa, Chief of the Corps of the Regiment Headquarters and Chief of Protocol of the Armed Forces. Then General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim greeted the picket of honor and the delegation of officers of the General Staff of the Armed Forces. The Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces attended a presentation made by Colonel Muhammad Mumin Abdi on the progress of the exercises, the different phases of and the objectives achieved. At the end of the presentation, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim attended the demonstration of achievements through the different workshops. This workshop included a shooting workshop of a distance of 100 meters, a workshop of identification of combat weapons, a topography workshop to allow the soldiers to orient himself in an unknown environment. The aim of the topography test is to test the soldiers' ability to use a military map by means of simple exercises. It is a question of being able to orient oneself, to locate oneself, to understand the nature of the terrain and the planimetry, to make a skeleton of the terrain. This knowledge is vital for the survival of the soldiers and the executions of the mission. And finally, a workshop of transmissions, which allows the communication between different echelons of the orders or the sharing of information. All these workshops aim to evaluate the knowledge of the cadet by the restitutions of the acquired knowledge and to prepare these future officers to the art of command of the men.
تغي الوادي مركيان عسكري قلا عرليجي نولينا هاي إبقوا قدرتون وقدا حساري tahay ilwaadii markiiaan askari gala arligaynu leenahay eebba ugu dhaaratoon ogada xisaarayay arlagu gam'aanahay tiir la irkadaanahay adiga haadamtaanahay arlagu gam'aanahay tiir la irkadaanahay adiga haadamtaanahay iyo colabaanahay adin laga baqaanahay sef laba caflaanahay gesi aaminaanahay indhihii dalkaanahay
East Africa Bank has inaugurated a new branches in the free zone, in the premises of the free zone. This branch opened in the premises of free zone will allow its customers to find on the spot an accessible and proximity banking service. Were present at this inauguration ceremony the General Manager of the East Africa Bank, Mr. Ibrahim Rashid Jafar, Hibo Warsama, the Marketing Manager, Mohammed Daher, Deputy Directors in charge of business, as well as the customers of this bank invited for the occasion. East Africa Bank offers a multitude of services to its customers by always aiming at proximity. The General Manager of East Africa Bank opened this branch aiming at bringing East Africa Bank closer to its customers. It offers, among other investment and financing services to individuals and proposes adapted partnership to companies. East Africa Bank, one of the 3 Islamic banks operating in Djibouti, is close to obtain a guarantee of up to $5 million provided by the International Finance Corporation under its Global Trade Finance Program. Listen to the General Manager of the East Africa Bank.
I thank you for joining us in this very important occasion of opening our Free Zone branch. The Free Zone branch is supposed to support our strategic initiative of trying to connecting businesses between Djibouti and Ethiopia. So our main agenda for this branch is to ensure that our customers get services closer to them at the free zone. This is where it's happening. And we thought that it is important and paramount that we come to the free zone. The opportunity, obviously, between Djibouti and Ethiopia is just too much. And this is exactly what we are looking at trying to take advantage of. Yeah? That is our main agenda of having this branch open today.
The Faculty of Engineering at the University of Djibouti hosted yesterday afternoon the conference on data science under the theme Challenges and Issues of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science as Lever for Development. This conference was moderated by Mr. Abubakar Adan Hussein, Senior Scientist in Artificial Intelligence and Applied Mathematics at Wall Street, and also by video conference Professor Ladjel Belatreche, one of the greatest scientists in big data analytics of France, and Professor Manuel Morales of the Department of Mathematics and Computational Finance of the University of Montreal, one of the heavyweight of the Canadian financial elite. The main objective of this conference were to discuss the stakes of artificial intelligence and the data professions as a lever for economic development. the scientists insisted on the necessity to launch the digitalization of the different sectors of society and to have a good IT ecosystem allowing to collect the data, to share it, and to extract value from it. For his part, the scientist Abu Bakr Adan Hussein said that convinced the two professors to set up an agreement with the University of Djibouti by setting up a partnership of students exchange and scientific research collaboration. The main objective of this conference were to discuss the stakes of artificial intelligence and the data professions as a lever for economic development. The scientists insisted on the necessity to launch the digitalization of the different sectors of the society and to have a good IT ecosystem allowing to collect the data, to share it, and to extract value from it. For his part, the president of the Djibouti University, Dr. Mohammed Hassan, has indicated for his part that the scientists insisted on the necessity to launch the digitalization of the different sectors of the society and to have a good IT ecosystem allowing collecting the data, to share it, and to extract value from it. In the day of Monday, December 2021, the capital of the region of Obok hosted an important ceremony of inauguration of projects of the Regional Council of Obok. For this purpose, a strong delegation traveled from the capital to participate. The delegation was composed of the representative of the delegation of European Union in Djibouti and to IGAD, Mr. Aidan O'Hara, His Excellency the Ambassador of France to Djibouti, Arnaud Guillois, members of Parliament, Honorable Fatouma Mohamed Hamadou, the Director of the Prospective and Territorial Development of the Ministry in charge of Decentralization, Fardous Ahmed Ali, the Head of the ADIL Programs of the French Expertise, Mr. Thibaut Gobrier. Arriving by sea, the delegation was welcomed at the port by Ali Mohamed Makki, the acting prefect, and the Mohamed Ismail, the president of the regional council, respectively. The courtesy visit was made to the prefecture of Obok. It should be noted that the two projects financed under the support program for the decentralization and local initiatives ADIL on funding from European Union and whose delegate project manager remains the regional councils of Obok are the beautification of the city through the planting of 200 trees and the renovation of the premises of the civil registry services with the retranscriptions of records. For his part, the EU ambassador and the French ambassador, Mr. Arnaud Guillois, said that it should be noted that the two projects funded under the support for decentralization and local initiative ADIL on funding from European Union and whose contracting authorities remains the regional councils of Obok are the beautification of the city through the planting of 200 trees and the renovations of the premises of the Department of Civil Studies with transcription of records. In his speech, the director of the program, Fatouma Fardous, the director and the head of the programs, Fardous Ahmed Ali, said they were pleased with the warm welcomes and congratulated the local officials for the realizations of these two projects and did not fail to emphasize their availability to accompany the territorial community of Obok for the realization of other projects of regional interests. For the international scene, on a visit to Cameroon, the president of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, confirmed on Tuesday that the CAN 2022 would take place on the date planned from January 9 to February 6, an announcement that responds to the European clubs who called for consolations because of COVID-19. CAF has stood firm. The president of Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, confirmed on Tuesday, December 21, that the African Cup of Nations scheduled from January 9 to February 6 would be held on the scheduled date in Cameroon, despite insistent rumors of postponement and consolations due to the pandemic. On January 9, I will come to see the opening match between Cameroon and Burkina Faso, said Patrice Motsepe to the press after a meeting with Cameroon's head of state, Paul Biya. The variant Omicron is a huge challenge, said Motsepe, who assured that no one will be admitted to the stadium without a PCR test, while the organizers had already announced the obligations of vaccines and the test to access the stadium. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.